This is my 8th year. So with the new stadium, there'll be a track around it, which gives us space to cheer. Also, we can do more stunting. We could do like performances, have mini Mustangs on the sideline. So it gives us more opportunity to do more things. I think it lends to a good atmosphere. It's tradition. But I think without the sidelines, it's hard for us to do anything. It's hard for us to be able to cheer and do things like that. Players and cheerleaders share the sidelines, so lack of space, I'd say.
How long has this been in place? If you ask some of the elder statesmen of the community, this has been in the works, actually written down since around 1970 or so, I believe. Curious it's been throughout the course of Mount Vernon history it's maybe debatable, so it depends on how serious you're talking about for how long it's been in the works, but if you ask some of the older folks in the community, they've been talking about this for a very, very long time. Matter of fact, they continue to talk about it through the 80s and 90s, and really got more serious since we started doing some more work around the campus, improvements around campus, trying to add that project to it. And when that failed from a public perspective, we had to start doing more private fundraising to get this done, because the need has never really gone away. It's always been a need. It's just we did something about it here the last 5 years mostly. So making the plans, people in the community like Lauren Hartman has been a huge advocate, and obviously works for Hall Engineers, so getting the plans and the site design and all that stuff. He actually did a lot of free work for us beforehand just to see what was possible, how much dirt we were going to have to move, to see how much money we were going to have to raise. So he did probably a month's worth of free work for us, which was awesome, so we could actually see what we needed to fundraise for. But really, I think starting off, leading off, myself and Ben Brannaman were probably the two that were out there fundraising the most for it at that time. And then when we hired a new foundation director, Taryn Kuntz has really picked up that flag and ran with it, the baton, and ran with it as well. So as far as a money fundraising perspective, obviously Dr. Batenhorst has been a key instrumental person in making sure that the finances and everything. Matt Burke, our finance director, before Michael Marshall came on, I mean, those people raised approximately about $1.7 million to get things, over the hump.
I think it's just going to have a really positive impact on a lot of programs. So obviously, being able to have a competition track for the first time at Mount Vernon is pretty nuts. So boys and girls track will be on the rise. I know cross country will be able to use it for different workouts in the fall also, and then just to have a consistent surface for soccer is good with regulation width, and then obviously football we'll be able to use it too. And I know that First Street the last couple of years has been an awesome surface, and it's obviously a great environment, but it's going to be really nice being right next to the school. Accessibility is just going to be good. And then from my perspective, like impacting sports also goes with training, right? And I think we're going to be able to impact almost everyone. Yeah, I think the biggest benefit is proximity. Like being able to have a state-of-the-art facility right on campus, to have all three buildings, elementary, middle school, and high school, and then all of our competition areas on campus is really, really cool. And then so that accessibility to be able to get out to the field, get out to the track, and use that in classes, to use that for sports practices, to use that for different competitions, I think is great. And then the other thing that goes along with that from a community perspective is now there's a lot more parking, better parking, and a way for people to get to games, get to competitions, get to things that, there's less headache in that way, so better fan experience for everyone. Just that it's so close, man. For PE classes especially, we go right from the gym out there, right from the weight room out there. That'll be really nice. The other thing that I like is like when you build a new facility, it's a time that you can start new traditions and look at like how we do things, and just like, all right, are we on the right path to being the best that we can be, and striving for excellence. Oh yeah, I think the atmosphere will be a lot different. There's positives and negatives. At First Street, that atmosphere is unreal. When you don't have a track around a football field, the stands are right on top of you, and it's a really good view. And for the student athletes that are on the field, it's a really cool field.
Just like we had a lot of people saying they want to donate, but we didn't have any major donor, right? So who was going to give a six-figure amount, a $100,000 amount if we didn't have a major donor, because it kind of feels like in the course of a $4 million project at that time, which now is a $6 million project, it felt like $100,000 wasn't enough for somebody to say like, well, they gave $100,000, you've raised $100,000, how do you, I'm just not going to give you until you have more money, until we know this is going to happen. Well, it took us quite a while, and then we finally got a $500,000 donor, which then turned into a $1 million donor. And then from there, the donations really started coming into play. It's a good question, right? I mean, so a lot of people don't always see the challenges of hosting where we currently play at right now. There's no question where we currently play is one of the best viewing and experiences for a player, for a fan to be there. But to invest, obviously, for 4 or 5 nights a year into one location is a really, really difficult thing to do, right? At the end of the day, we don't have a track. We don't have, we don't even own the whole field. It's actually divided up into like 3 or 4 different parcels. So like different people actually own our field down there. And then we don't have a building to go to. Parking is a very minimum. So you start throwing on, well, we have a track now. All right, we're going to have a track to host a track meet, to run 8 lanes on the all-weather surface, right? I mean, how many times have you gone out and either didn't have lines painted, or because of the weather, or just even it's been too wet to do something, and now you're only going to be limited by cold or lightning, really. I mean, at this point, so you're going to have a surface that you can play on. And just the ability for everybody to be able to use it. So whether it's speed and agility, or whether it's band, or whether it's competitions, soccer, whatever, it's not going to be an issue anymore for people to use that. Right next to school, we can utilize the locker rooms. We don't have to worry about lightning. I mean, if we do, we have a place to put people. So all those things that some people don't think about, some people do. I just got out of a meeting recently. The contractors are pushing for August 1st of next year, which is actually like a 7 or 8 months ahead of what we had originally slated. So they would like it to be done August 1st for us to play our full season next year on that field. So.